Welcome to You Are the Prize. I'm Alex Newsom.
And I'm Alexis Kay. And today we're talking to Shaun Sperling, who is a speaker, energy coach, writer, and performer with a BA in theater and a JD in law. You may have read his writing on The Moth, Huffington Post, or on his Substack, where he explores themes of love, joy, and authenticity. His career has spanned law, leadership, and personal development. And his work is an extension of his art. He uses humor, vulnerability, and heart to inspire transformation in others. Across mediums, Shaun invites audiences to confront their inner truths, embrace imperfection, and rediscover joy. And we couldn't be happier to have him here with us today.
How are you feeling today? Are you feeling like the prize?
I am actually. I think being invited to talk to you all and like being a part of this, it truly feels like an honor.
Oh, that's very nice.
And like to have somebody like say, hey, to be seen, like we see something in you, that you see me as somebody who's living my life in alignment. That feels like a prize. Like I'm the prize.
You're the prize. And I feel like whenever we're friends, we did the AIDS Life Cycle together, and we're super familiar with the dance floor. And I feel like whenever I see you on the dance floor, it is truly like there are hundreds of lights in the sky, but then this light from the dance floor comes out, and I'm just like, oh my God, that's Shaun.
Oh.
And you're just having a moment, and you're just very authentically yourself. And I think that was one of the things that when we were talking about who do we want to talk about, who embodies this, you came to mind immediately. So
that's really nice.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
Oh my gosh, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
We're so excited. And when Alex, you guys are obviously close friends, but when he told me about you and about your story, the first thing I said was, who at 13 ever thought that they were even cool or good? Or I mean, it's just your story, and we'll get into that, of you at such a young age embodied who you were.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a rare thing. I think most people, if you ask them, it's like, what's your most awkward time in life? 13 is like right there when things are usually not cooking for people. But you embodied who you were then.
I mean, honestly, when I look at the video of me dancing to Vogue at my bar mitzvah at 13, I too am like, who is that kid? How did he figure that out? Mm-hmm. A lot of people will comment. It's one of the greatest gifts of my life is that experience, because I will meet someone who knows of the video, who has seen the video, and they'll say something like, first of all, they're like, I've always wondered who that was. So it's like a really cool moment. And then every gay man who I meet who knows of the video says that was so me. Mm-hmm. But I was doing that in behind closed doors. Right. Yeah. And they always comment on the courage that I had. Mm-hmm. And I will be honest, I kind of wrestle with this because I do accept that compliment, and I do see that in that kid who just happens to be me. Mm-hmm. But I also am somehow, probably because of my parents and the support I had, and just maybe my soul, who I am, had the courage that, in Yiddish, we would say the chutzpah to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And so that too feels like an honor. How was I that person?
Right. Just right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just for those who may not know the history of this video, and when Alex showed it to me for the first time, I was like, how have I not seen this? And then realizing that it was totally in the zeitgeist at a moment. And I was like, you were on Ellen.
Yeah.
You met Madonna.
I sure did.
Okay, so take us.
Madonna.
I sang with Madonna. Yeah.
So tell us. Go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Tell us the story of you at 13, and then how this catapulted you into international fame.
my moment. So at 13, I was preparing for my bar mitzvah. Honestly, at that time, I did not put the language to it. I didn't know that I was gay. I just knew that I was different. I didn't know I didn't know. I mean, I knew what gay was, but I just didn't make that connection. And, all the kids were choosing like these themes for their bar mitzvahs, like sports and cars and very boy things. And I had this idea of a Madonna themed bar mitzvah. And I remember the exact moment I was like shopping with my mom and saw these like Madonna true blue earrings. And I was like, if my theme was Madonna, we could give these to the kids as gifts.
So generous.
Exactly. I'm always thinking about others and the stage. Like that's really what it was about. But and my mom, who just was like eager for me to pick a theme already, she was like, well, if that's what you're really into, why not? And I couldn't believe it. And so right away, like the plan started, the centerpieces of Madonna, the T-shirts that we made for the kids that said, I vogued with Shaun and Shaun's bar mitzvah.
So good.
I mean, and then I don't know where the idea came from, but because I always have like performance on my mind, I was like, what if when they, welcome me into the room after I, read from the Torah, that I do a dance to Vogue. And so I practiced, like I'd watch the VHS of Madonna on the Blonde Ambition tour. And then I would go downstairs and practice, and my mom and sisters would like give me notes.
That's my favorite part. Just like one, to be so vulnerable to do this thing, but also to be so secure in it, and then have your parents and your sisters actually coach you through it.
Yes.
It's just like, it's amazing to have so much support, but it's also just like, this was business for you. You
It
were
was
like,
business.
I have a spelling bee, I have a Torah.
That's right. And yes,
I have
and
rehearsal.
everything else took second place. Like I was like, nobody's gonna know what I'm reading from the Torah, but everybody's gonna see what I do on that dance floor. I had priorities.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like I remember like my sisters and my mom like saying things like stronger arms, like stronger. And I could tell there was like this part of them that was like, oh my God, this little faggot, like, and so but it was still, still sweet, them like kind of protecting me in a way. So yeah, I did it. The audience went wild, of course. Everyone left at bar mitzvah that was like, okay, it's confirmed Shaun's gay before I probably even knew it. And then I kind of sat on that video for 20 years, and but I always talked about it, and people I don't think really believed it. Like they thought I was exaggerating because I am a storyteller, but I then started doing creative writing while I was a lawyer. I was like, that was my outlet. Wrote a story about my bar mitzvah, found the video, put it on YouTube. I mean, this was like 13 years ago, so like YouTube was newish, and sent it to my friends. And because, I was writing a story about my bar mitzvah and I was going to perform the story at this event, and I was going to show clips from it. And I sent it to my friends the day of the performance, and I said, don't share this because this is just for the performance, but this is it. And my friend Scott was like, I'm sending this to Perez Hilton, who was a big deal at the time. It was so fast. Instantly, he said, I'm dead. That was his response. And moments later, I was a lawyer. I was at court when this happened, doing God knows what in a courtroom. And I came back, and it was on PerezHilton.com, and he's called it the greatest video on the internet. And almost instantly, my office phone was ringing from news outlets. And before I knew it, I was I did the performance last night. It was packed. It was someone said get ready, this is really gonna blow up. And then the next day the Today Show called, and I was on the Today Show, and then Jimmy Kimmel, and then Ellen, and I all my dreams came true, and I met Madonna on Ellen. It was an awkward experience, to be honest, because of Ellen, not Madonna. But and then I sang with Madonna at her concert, and yeah, that was really, that experience shook me out of a place in my life that I was I can say I didn't belong there. I was an attorney representing banks in the courtroom. I mean, it was so out of alignment of who I was. And it was the universe was screaming in the loudest voice it could, what the fuck are you doing? And that's what really changed everything. Yeah.
And it's so interesting to think that someone who so young really knew who you were And you think like, oh, well, then he must be set for life.
You
He's just
think.
going to be on this straight trajectory of just making all his dreams come true from here forward. And I think so many of us, it's like, even if you think you have a strong direction, it's like the world gets in.
Yeah.
And you ended up doing something very different.
Yeah.
So you went to law school.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you. Like, you would think the trajectory of that kid was like, oh, he's got it made.
Straight to theater school.
That's right, which I did go.
did,
I
right.
did go to theater school. But again, like, I'm in theater school, and the whole time I'm like, I was not a good actor. I'm not a good actor, and that's something I really accept about myself.
Well, you're great at being yourself.
I am.
So, you know, that's a pretty good trade.
But, you know, you're like, oh gosh, I have to do something important. I have to do something like serious. It was that trajectory of like, no, don't step too far away from that kid, because that's who you are. But I did. And my, you know, I worked in theater, a theater company out of college, which was great. Then I got into like fundraising for the AIDS Foundation of Chicago through the AIDS Marathon Training Program. It was so in line with who I was. And then this thing happened where I got arrested for peeing outside, but I was being accused of public indecency for, you know, jerking off. And believe me, if I was, I would tell you. Got many other stories to share for another time. But it was totally homophobic, and I went to jail. Like, it was crazy. The story is nuts. Was in court, and I had this moment where I was like, I am white, English is my first language, and everybody around me is not. I was this privileged white boy who had an attorney who got me off the charges. And there was this moment where I was like, I'm going to do this really noble thing and go to law school. It sounds really noble. It is. It is.
How old were you?
I was in my 20s, so early 20s.
Okay.
But I like realized that was actually going to law school was me trying to prove like I'm smart enough, I'm serious enough, I can be like a normal human and make money and be in a suit. And it totally put me on the wrong path in a way. And I knew like everything was a struggle in law school. It was a dark time. But I, you know, even during that, I was like, you know what? Push ahead, have the resilience, get through it. And I did, and I became a lawyer. But like, I won't say I was miserable, because I have this like ability to just like be truly like genuinely happy where I'm at. But it was not where I belonged. And then when this video happened, this was the universe being like, snap out of it.
Like reminding you what it felt like. Because sometimes I think you like get off your path, and it takes a minute to realize this doesn't feel like me. And it's like you're in this situation where you get far enough away from what feels good that you like forgot how good it felt.
Totally.
So what was it like being in the, like, right before, I mean, like before this all transpired, were you said you had writing as an outlet, and you would, you know, find other ways to like get your, like have room for who you were.
Yeah. I mean, that was such a great outlet, but it was still like, I was still suppressing it. I was like, no, this is what you need to do to be like accepted as a human being. Like, it was everything, you know? I came out when I was really young, but I was determined to be the gay guy that this straight former homophobe would be like, I kind of like you.
Yeah.
But that meant I'm gonna be this acceptable version of a gay guy. For them.
And not for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do it for that. Exactly. That's such a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And so like even the writing, it was like I never really at that time believed, oh, I can do something with this, that I have something to say that like, so it was a lot of suppressing, and it took a lot of, like you said, these moments of the universe, like to be like, what are you doing? And I, you know, sometimes now I think where I've gotten to is I'm not waiting for those big moments. And I'm like, my practice is really getting in touch with what it feels like to be in flow, in alignment, and not, so that I can make those decisions.
Right, you can recognize it. You can like feel it in your body.
Totally.
You start to know what the signs are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
And you talk a lot about, specifically, with Madonna and seeing her and feeling like joy was something that you just have to own and take, and that opened up kind of a realization for you. Can you talk a little bit more about kind of joy and authenticity and how that has translated from a VHS video of a 13-year-old boy at his bar mitzvah to now what you do helping other people kind of?
Yeah, I mean, Madonna was that guiding light for me. And she was, I remember these moments so distinctively because they were defining moments. I'm sure we all have, where you feel seen, you feel heard, and like you see yourself. And even when I met Madonna and Ellen, it was such an awkward moment. You could see it on YouTube, but I still like love it, of course, where I said something about having her to guide me. And the guidance was into really truth. And there was this period, between 13 and whatever, I don't know how long it took, but these moments of like going down those other paths. I don't even want to call them the wrong path, but like different paths. And now the way that I'm kind of attempting to live my life is to be always in truth, no matter what that means. Because I can think back to when I came out at a young age, I saw the power of that around me. I'm sure you did too. Like we all in some ways, like when you're living in your truth, like how that inspires others to do the same. And what has been such an amazing like gift and opportunity is for me to find a career in speaking, coaching, like writing too, where I feel like my job is almost to like inspire people to live their truth. And that sounds like a little bit cliche, but it is the most powerful thing. And finding the nuances in that of what does that mean actually to live your truth? How do we get there? How do we listen to our bodies when it's telling us you are not right now? Because it's tricky. There's a lot of like, there's a lot of things that can make you feel like you are, but you're not.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, especially the world we live in, it's like the messages that we all have on like, well, what is success? What is living in the right way? Or like you sometimes realize those definitions are not things that come from you.
Completely.
It's like you realize like the voice in your head is actually it was your mom, and
right.
but the voice sounded like me, but actually
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not how I feel about that thing.
Totally.
And it's like to even be able to parse that out, I think can be really challenging.
It's truly like I think one of the most challenging things, but if we practice and if we have truly, I think we need connection to guide us to that, to see examples of it. It's totally possible, but it is I do see it as really hard work. Like I think when I really started getting into my own spiritual practice, someone that I really study and look up to is Dr. Joe Dispenza. Alex knows my obsession.
You've given it to me.
Yeah,
so,
good. I'm so glad.
Yeah.
See, we're not in a cult. I
No,
promise.
we're not. No,
I promise we're
He
not.
hasn't given me any literature yet.
Oh,
I
he
know,
will.
yeah.
He
It's
will.
going to be on the book club. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but like one of the things that he says all the time that I didn't get until I kind of went to a thing with him in person, he said, "This is hard work. This is labor," and I realized that it is, and it's like the reward is everything, but it is laborious. I love that word, laborious. Like it is so hard to dig in and to acknowledge the narratives you've been living by, the addictions to certain emotions. It's painful. And then just sometimes it's just hard to go in there and shift. There's this one breathing exercise that I do sometimes before a meditation, but I can only do it sometimes because I'm like, damn, I got to be really ready. I've got to be so ready because I can't even describe why it's so hard, but I know that it's because it's like cracking in like the hardest part of our being that we've created.
Yeah. Well, I think as children, we haven't been broken down by the world yet and told, so you do see Madonna and you're like, that's what I'm going to do for my thing. And then you get older and you want to date somebody and, well, they might not look like Madonna, so maybe I should like keep that in my room.
Yeah.
And then you go to school and you're like, well, I got to be professional, so I can't be doing this and that. And it's like we build the shell around our authenticity. And I feel like that's painful to chip away at that because that's also a part of you.
Totally.
In a way.
And it's a protective part,
And
and
it's a protective
it
part.
has served a purpose. And I think when you start to like chip away at it, it kind of resists, right? And it's like, no, I'm here for a reason. This is like this wall is built like this to keep me safe.
That's right.
Yeah.
And those things, like this is something that I coach people through sometimes is those walls served us. Like they, and that's why it's so important that we're chipping away at them. We're like also like embracing them and thanking them and then being able to say like, hey, I so appreciate that you were there to protect me, but I don't really need you anymore. And there are moments that I find myself in. I mean, we're all still working at this. I'm still working at this because there's moments I find myself in where I'm like, oh, I'm relying on that wall, if we want to call it, or you might call it a gremlin, or people have different like names for them. And it was like, okay, I actually don't need you anymore, but thank you for being there because you taught me a lot. You got me, you got me where I needed to go, which is right here. But thank you.
Yeah.
So now that you are like, I mean, do you feel like you are back in living your own truth?
Oh, that's such a good question. I think I'm closer than I've ever been before.
Closer than you at 13? Or is
I do think so because at 13 I didn't know what I know now.
Right, of course.
It was easier.
Sure.
It's so much easier.
Right.
So yeah, I'm closer. But I mean, and Alex has seen me on the dance floor. I'm that kid.
I mean, truly, minus the airbrushed Madonna shirt, like you are still that kid.
Yeah. I mean,
very
I
much so.
think I'm closer. I'm closer than I have been before, and I'm really happy to say that. And that's, it's so wild because I think we're all in a moment right now in the world that's in this major reckoning, and we're all being challenged. And so like to be going through this right now when the world is going through what it's going through, and also I am hot and heavy into this midlife moment, which can so easily be the crisis. Like, I mean, it is like teetering on crisis. It's been like a year of me being like, no, don't go to the crisis side of it. Like, embrace it, lean into it. But like, it is pretty awesome because what I am finding right now, and this I will say is probably just the last 6 months to a year, that I can honestly say, like, no matter what's happening in the external world, whether that being like the greater world or personal things that are happening, that it is not coming close to breaking me. And it's like, I'm almost afraid to say this out loud, but I'm going to, is that like, I don't think in 6 months to a year, I don't know exactly when, but like, I have not let a negative thought take me down at all. I'm catching.
That's a good run.
Yeah.
It is, and I want to keep it going.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Like I have to have like some, compassion for myself and like empathy for myself, that if that does happen, or maybe when it happens, because it will, okay, like go for the ride, but when you can pull yourself out of it. And I'm finding again, and like people, like friends I talk to, loved ones, people I coach, people I work with, that like, this seems to be the key. It's like, is finding that inner peace and being able to stop that spiral.
Yeah.
And how does joy play a role in that?
I mean, gosh, for me, it's everything. I think at my core, like it is my top value. It is at the core who I am is joyful. And I think, well, I know that. I think other people know that. And I will say, I think one thing that I've been able to do consistently in my life is find joy no matter what. But I think right now, it's like even closer to what joy means to me. It's like it's always been real and authentic, but now it's like truly, um, you know, work it's been a struggle. Like work was amazing and then it just like fell, just like fell off a cliff, and that would really make me spiral. I could still find joy. I could still go to the gym and find joy, go to a party and find joy, connect with people I love, be with my dog, joy, 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 joy. But like it's all there. But right now I'm like, actually, it is core, it is everlasting. It's as hard as it is when we hear things on the news and see things, that I'm like, joy is resistance, but it is a genuine joy. It is truth. And I feel really like I feel it every day. I really do. And that's what I hope to like I know it's contagious. So I want to bring that with me without also, I don't want to make it sound like I don't get depressed or I don't get mad. And I think it's really important to feel those things and go through like the cycle of those emotions and not ever shove them away. But it's like, okay, let's go through that. Let's go through that emotion. Let's feel those feelings. And then let's allow the joy to then come in. Yeah.
I want more of that.
Yeah. I mean, you in a maybe a bit more of like a corporate sense, but you kind of in your energy coaching help people kind of go up that ladder
Completely.
And I'm sure joy is somewhere up there in the level, but can you talk a little bit more about your practice and just like kind of how that has come to be with all your history and everything? I find it actually really funny that you went to school to be a performer and you're like, no, I'm not, that's not for me, but you're actually on stage coaching, inspiring like hundreds, thousands of people, and that so it's like a weird full circle kind of
it is
funhouse mirror, but you're actually still
I'm back to like the core of who I am. And I'll tell you, like it was kind of recent that like a really good friend of mine who is like in all, you know, like in the world's definition of success, he's it. Like he's a well-known screenwriter. He's like got the life. And we were just having casual lunch. He was visiting LA and he said, you know, whatever you do has to be like performance. And it kind of struck me because I'm like, that's one of those things that I really tried to shove away because I saw it as bad. Oh, like I want too much attention. It's like, fuck yeah, I want attention. That's who I am. Like, I love it. And like to embrace the fact that what I do is performance. But performance is truth to me. You know, you said like, I'm good at being myself, but like it is performance. And when I tie that to like the neuroscience and the research and sociology and like metaphysics and all this stuff, I'm like, oh, this is where the magic is for me. And you know, you mentioned like the energy coaching and how like, I'll tell you my practice, my coaching practice, and I think what I bring to like my work is this concept of energy like coaching, which is we all operate on different levels and they are actually connected to the chakras if you want to go a more spiritual kind of angle, but it can exist on any level. But that, you know, on a very low level of energy, I'll just kind of describe them quickly. Like level 1 energy is like, we just kind of like are out. Like we're like, I don't want to deal with this, I'm out. A lot of people like looking at politics might be in that level of energy where it's like, I'm not
it's
even.
just apathy.
Yeah, it's apathy is a
Okay,
good way to put
okay.
it. And by the way, I want to say this before I get into this. Energy levels are not good or bad. They're needed at different times. Level 2 is like, I'm going to fight back. I'm going to resist. Again, like sometimes really necessary. But those two levels of energy are what's called like catabolic energy. They're survival energies. They're like low in the chakra system. They're like, to survive, I'm going to just like back out, or to survive, I'm going to fight back. But they're needed. We need those survival
it's fight or
energies.
flight, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. As you raise above the energy levels, like 3, you start getting into anabolic energy, which is like it is what it is. It's kind of this like, it's a little bit still apathetic because you're like, that is what it is. It could be worse, but still, like, you might need that sometimes. Level 4 is a place of service, like you win, but sometimes it's a you win, I lose. Like, I'm gonna serve, I'm gonna give. Beautiful, like empathetic energy, sometimes needed. When we start getting up into level 5, there's kind of this like, then you're starting to get really into anabolic energy where there's like no judgment. It's a you win, I win. When you get to level 6, this is like starts getting into like, I am you, you are me, we are connected. It's like creative genius. When I like read a biography of someone like that I really like admire, who's like an artist, I'm like, level 6, like this just full acceptance of what is. Level 7 is like monk on the top of a mountain energy that like, maybe if I do ecstasy and acid, I could get there. You know?
Sounds great to me.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not, I love it, but you can get there without, by the way. And so essentially what I think I'm doing in my work is helping people like recognize where their energy is and how to raise their energy to that higher level. I think that my work is really ultimately about helping people just become more conscious, like more awake, not let the fight or flight or those survival energies take hold, figuring out how to rise above that. And that's what kind of gets us to like our truth. Yeah. And so I could do that one-on-one. I love the experience of doing it on a stage at like a conference for like 500 executives who like are like, who is this human on stage? Like, I really feel like they're like, wait a second, this not buttoned up, like kind of like guy, like
6'1", 6'2" caveman.
Yes.
Hey.
Like, yes. But the minute I open my mouth, I'm like, I know, I see the faces, but like through whether it's an hour program or a full day program, I'm like, I'm going to connect and help raise that energy, bring in the consciousness.
And you can feel it in the room, right? It's like all those people, even if most of the room was down at a 2, even if you get, it's like any amount probably brings the whole ship, right?
You could totally feel it. And I think that's something awesome that I love about what I do, and that like, that I have the ability to do that and to create a container where people like can let down their guard. It's amazing. I mean, I really feel so blessed to do what I do. And listen, sometimes like today I was doing like some sessions for like a medical supply company, but still I shouldn't like dog it. It's like, I don't care. The program was on like accountability, but I'm like, I have this moment with this group, and maybe I'm gonna meet them at this level, and we're gonna go a little bit higher. But maybe some people will go there, some people won't. Not everybody. I mean, truly, I don't think I'm for everybody.
Sure.
But it's such an awesome gig.
Yeah.
It is.
It just sounds so rewarding to like. Like you said, it's not, you don't get to decide who goes with you or not, but it's like that there's always the potential that you're like,
yes, totally. And I just think like, even like some clients I took work with like the last year, I'm like, not the proudest to say I'm working for this client that's like destroying the planet, but you know, one day I'll be able to say no thing. I mean, I had a period where I was like, nope, I'm not going to do that. Right now, I'm like, I'm going to take the work where I can get it.
I would maybe even challenge that though,
Tell me.
because here's a spin. When you work with people who are up to stuff you don't really agree with, but you can help them raise their energy to a different place, maybe they are in that job because they're in that energy. And what if you got to inspire all kinds of people doing all kinds of fucked up shit to do less of it? Because
possibly,
you know what I mean? And like maybe that's idealistic, and but I like.
You could be somebody's Madonna, like
exactly. I love that.
Whoa!
Yeah, I mean, really, like
yeah. But who knows? But no, I really do see that, and I do see ultimately everyone. I truly mean this. I think everyone is just a human trying to do their best with what they have. I mean, I'm talking about the biggest like pieces of shit on the planet. I really do, and even when I was a lawyer, I felt this. I was like, I'm going to see the human for like the human. And if I'm in this room with people who are ultimately doing fucked up shit, they are still human beings with families and friends and colleagues. And if I'm raising their energy, they are going to raise somebody else's. And maybe they're not going to be like, I'm not going to do this anymore. But maybe the decisions they make are more conscious, which ultimately have an impact.
Yeah, I mean, I'd argue that those are the people who need it most.
Thank you.
So,
and those are the people
and maybe
who
those
have the
will
most
be the
money.
Sure, of course they do.
So they get paid
Keep taking
more.
the clients; they need you.
Yeah, right. Totally.
So aside from coaching, you recently started a Substack.
Yeah.
And I've been really enjoying. I message you every time it comes out.
It's
and
like so sweet.
Well,
that you do that.
I mean, it resonates. Like it comes from a really pure place, and as I'm on, we're on our journey, we're soaking up all these things. And anyway, can you talk about that?
Yeah, it's been such an awesome experience, and I know this is going to be hard to believe based on what we've talked about and what you know. I had a really hard time, and you and I have talked about this like on a like one-on-one basis as friends, that like there's a block. I'm going to talk, like, I have these blocks, of course, we all do. And I could stand on a stage of thousands of people and feel so me, so free. And suddenly when I'm like writing something to put out in the world or recording something to put out in the world, I clam up. And the Substack has been this really great challenge for me to like put my work out there that is not going anywhere.
It's like, the permanence of it.
It's the permanence.
That's scary.
Yes. And it's been this like really, the process has been so awesome. I go through the same cycle every time I write one where I'm like, I get inspired. I wait till I'm inspired for the topic. Like I have a list of things I want to write about, and I'm just kind of looking like, where's the inspiration? What does the like universe need right now? And I'm going to get that from an interaction or something. And so I get really excited. And then I start writing and I start second guessing myself. But as soon as I get into flow, I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, I'm feeling it. This is so good. I finish it. I edit it. I'm still in a good place. And then I start putting the finishing touches. And the minute I like schedule it to go out, I'm like seriously laying in bed. It's usually in a hotel. I write a lot on planes. Like that's my favorite place. So I'm in a new city and I cannot sleep. And I'm like, oh my God, stop, don't stop it. Like stop the send, like cancel it. It sucks. It's cliche. It's bullshit. Nobody's gonna read this. And then I like fight through that. I let it go in the morning and I'm feeling really good. And then if nobody's responding to me, thankfully, I have Alex who will be like, read your Substack.
I will start commenting.
Well, I mean, I like seriously, it's no joke. Like when you text me, I'm like, okay, I can breathe. And I'm waiting for that. And I know that's like outside validation. And I just accept that. And then I get to this place where I really am like, you know what? I believe in this. I love it. It feels like a little tiny baby that I made. And then like, not always, but sometimes I'll have this interaction. Like, I wrote one that I really loved about manifestation. It's called, what is it called? I'm hot, I'm rich, and I have a secret. It's my favorite one so far. I think it's my favorite. And like I was out at a party, Bears in Space, and like a guy came up, was like, "Oh my God, I read your Substack and it resonated." And he didn't comment or anything, but like it's those moments where I'm like, "Oh my God, someone's reading this and feels this." And again, it's cliche, but I'm like, that one comment meant everything. And then I'm waiting for the next one. And so it's just been a really great way to express myself and like take these baby steps to putting myself out there in this permanence. One thing that I have this incredible coach who helped me realize is that I'm at my best when I'm feeling really light. And so what I've been really trying to do is everything that I'm doing, whether it's the Substack or, you know, working on a project or like my website, like I put, oh my God, the like block I have around that. And lately I've been like, get your place to like lightness, like throw away wisps. I mean, I feel like I'm doing that right now. Like I'm just like, this is just fun. And once I get, it is like when I attach it to my joy, I'm like, I don't need validation. It doesn't need to be perfect. And I feel like, I feel really good about it. Yeah.
It's a beautiful lesson.
Yeah.
It's so hard sometimes though.
It's so hard.
But then it's because you realize that you're resisting. It's like you can't be both light and resisting.
Exactly.
It like it's doesn't coexist,
exactly,
right? So,
because and this is where I think I've been really fascinated about this idea of resistance lately too, because again, right now in the world, we need to resist some things. We need to resist. And yet in our lives, I really believe in that phrase, like that which you resist persists. And so sometimes it's hard to like distinguish that, like when do I need to resist and when do I just need to accept it, like really accept. And I love the idea of just radical acceptance of like who I am, how the world, a radical acceptance of where the world is right now. A radical acceptance, like that conversation when my friend said, you need to perform, or everything needs to be performance, not going to resist it anymore. Like there's so many moments in my life, like I have this good friend who's a trainer and she was training me for a while, and as a kid, I always wanted to be a twink, and this body is not going to be a twink. It's never going to be. And when she said, you need to embrace the beef, I was like, fuck yeah. And I just find that like if we accept, if we lean into it, like we were talking about the Real Housewives before, there's like this New Jersey early seasons, this amazing housewife,
Give it to me.
Siggy Flicker.
Wait, that's
really
not.
now,
Wait, is that a name?
That's her real name. Yeah, her nickname was Soggy Flicker because she cried all the time. Terrible person, truly. She's like on some Trump council. Who I love her still, right? And her tagline is one that was like, "Oh my God, that's me." She said, "Some people say I'm too much, and they're absolutely right." And I'm like, yes, I'm too much. I like attention. I'm big and beefy. Great. I'm not going to resist.
No.
And the more, like, I just think, like, when we don't resist, it's like, that is when we see, like, the true, like, people's true nature. And that is where their gifts lie. Everybody's.
Yeah. But it is funny, though, so often I think that you're more afraid of your light. You know, it's like you're more afraid of like, what if it all goes right? What if I get everything that I want?
Right.
Then what?
Yeah.
I don't know why that feels like standing on the edge of a cliff more than
Completely.
being in the corner where you're like, oh, let me just stay safe. Let me stay safe. Let me live with like these other definitions of who I should be or what success looks like. And it's
I think the reason for that, Marianne Williamson has that like amazing quote, right? That's like, we're not afraid of our success.
We're not afraid of our darkness. We're afraid of our light.
Yeah, something like we're totally paraphrasing. But I really do believe that we are deeply addicted to our narratives of our limitations. And I can feel that. Now it's one of those things that I can feel in my body that's like, oh, this is just an addiction of the narrative, of the story. And so if my, hypothetically,
Sure.
if my addiction is to like not being successful or failure, it's almost like the most comfortable thing when I fail, when I'm broke, when things aren't going my way. It's like, this is familiar to me. And that's why I think it is like the work, and this is where that hard work comes at chipping away, is realizing what that is, where that came from, and then changing that narrative.
And you change the story. You change the story.
This is, because that narrative enables all of this behavior. That's like, well, I'm never going to be successful. I'm never going to be financially stable. I'm never going to be loved. I'm never going to be whatever. Suddenly your behaviors validate that. And there is such a fucked up piece to that.
Like a satisfaction
Yes. It's
to
like,
being
see?
right.
Yes. It's like, see that thing the universe always told me, they're right.
Yeah.
The universe is right. Or, and I can just now like just accept that when it's actually the work is every fucking day, truly every day. My way is through meditation, and like that's the proactive work, and then in the moment, but it's rewriting that narrative. It's like I'm going to see myself in a different light. And I mean, when you start realizing that narrative that you're in, you start realizing like it happens the moment you wake up, and then you're in this spiral. And so we have to change that narrative. We have to. And the amazing thing is I really believe we can.
And do you find that it's easier to do that when you are doing things like having a job that really aligns with your values? And like, is it easier to grasp onto or rewrite the right narrative?
Yeah, I mean, yes. There's no question that like our place in life, I mean, even our privileges or lack thereof, I mean, it'd be really like small-minded for me to say, oh, this is easy for everybody. I do believe everyone can do it, but there are headwinds. There are things that are really hard based on our identity, based on how we grew up, based on our current situation. Like I think a lot about like the people I'm closest to, like some of my family members who like I want so badly just shake them, but it's like they have a very different situation than I do. I don't have kids and I don't have a shitty husband. I have an amazing partner. Like I have all these things that help. I'm not a person of color. I'm not, there's all these other, like being part of a marginalized group that makes it all harder. I have a job that I love, right? So yeah, I think there are things that make it harder and easier, but I do truly believe to the core that we can all do this.
But it has to start with awareness, right? You can't, without even knowing. I think for a lot of us, I mean, I think to even know that you are telling yourself a story all the time, right? It's like that you even have a narrative.
Yeah, it's
because
waking up.
So often you're like, no, this is what's happening, or like, this is who I am. And you don't label it as, well, that's actually a story you're telling yourself.
Exactly.
Because when you say, oh, that's a story you're telling, it feels like, well, it's fake or it's not. But it's actually, it's like your whole internal whatever is a story.
We are so addicted. And that's the thing, like I was saying, like this midlife moment that I'm in, I think what started happening, everything felt right and great. My work was so good. It was flowing. I met my partner who's like the perfect human.
Also another Alex. So
Another Alex.
There's a thing, yeah.
But everything was like so amazing. And then as things got hard, the work fell off a cliff. This creative project I was working on like just died. And I really had this moment where I was like, oh my God, what I feel like. And I knew enough then to know it wasn't the truth. But the universe was like, it felt like it was saying, remember all those things that you feared? They are true. And so that's why I also know that this is a practice that we cannot let go of. Like, I don't think there, I mean, maybe there are people in the world who have let go of it, but I see it as like a daily practice. And I do have days where like, you know, like you asked me how I felt today. I feel like it's a great day. I'm in alignment, everything's great. There's other days where it's like, oh my God, those messages are coming. And like I said, I'm now able to stop them, but they are coming like so fast.
Yeah.
And it's bringing up that old narrative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it never ends, which is
No.
kind of like, that's never what you want to hear. You're like,
Yeah.
can I just like do the chapter and
Yeah.
I'm good? Like I'll do the test at the end, and you're like, you know, new story.
Yeah.
It's just not that.
That's not.
It's just
But
not.
like, it's also like, if this is also something to not resist.
Right.
Because if we can just accept, oh, this is what life is actually.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
If I can accept that,
Yeah.
like, all right, then I'm going to continue doing the work because I know that it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, this has been lovely.
You are the prize.
You are the prize. We
Thank
think
you.
so.
So are you too.
Thank
I'm
you.
so happy
Thank
for
you.
you. I loved this conversation. I can't wait to see what you all do.
Oh.
Yeah,
you.
truly. It's going to be amazing.
We do have a little something for you.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, when you are the prize, I feel like you should like get a prize.
You gotta look like the prize.
You gotta.
So I have to tell you, I mean,
Oh my
I
God.
know you know.
I
Yeah.
wonder what this
So as I was picking these out, I was just like, you know, looking at the colors and what, you know, and the last one that I picked, Madonna, Express Yourself, started playing. I'm not joking.
He texted me.
I texted.
Wow.
And so it just felt very serendipitous. We wanted to get you something that will bring you joy on the dance floor.
Oh my God. This is unbelievable. Alex knows how much I love thongs. And this is
Which is something I'm just
incredible.
learning about you.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
so I
probably
was like-
anybody listening to, well, not anybody,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
oh my God, it's ridiculous.
And the silver thong, just to be clear, is the one that the Madonna.
Yeah,
I
Madonna,
had
yeah.
no doubt that this was the one, that
yeah.
this is the prize. Oh my God, you are too much. This is hilarious.
So put one of those on or all of them and go spread your joy.
Oh,
around.
I'm tonight, as a
good.
matter
When
of
it's a
fact.
nice color combo.
Yeah, this is amazing. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much. All right.
All right. Thank you guys. It was a great episode with Shaun. And I don't know.
We'll see you soon.
We'll see you next time. You Are the Prize is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at youaretheprize_pod.
This was a Studio Stab production in collaboration with the Champ Effect and Alt Entertainment. Music by Scott Martin.